I think I'm going to lose my mind. I am actually going to snap.
Okay, take a breath. Put the latte down before you spill it. What happened? Is this about the weekend trip?
It is about the weekend trip, but it is also about everything else. I asked him 3 times to book the cat sitter. 3 times. I come home yesterday and I ask, "Did you call the vet?" And he looks at me with those puppy dog eyes and says, "Oh, I totally forgot. Can you just send them a text?"
Ouch. Let me guess. You sent the text?
Of course I sent the text. Otherwise, we don't go on the trip.
And now you are resentful because you saved the day again.
Exactly.
It sounds like you are exhausted, not just annoyed.
I am exhausted. It feels like I am the project manager of our life, and he is just this reluctant intern I have to supervise. He is a grown man, but if I don't tell him explicitly to take out the trash, do the laundry, or buy a birthday card for his own mother, it just doesn't happen.
That is the classic project manager trip. You know there's a term for that, right? It is called the mental load.
Mental load?
Yes, it is the invisible work involved in managing a household and a relationship. It is not just the physical act of buying the milk. It is noticing you are almost out of milk, remembering to add it to the list, and planning time to go to the store. It is the cognitive effort that never shuts off.
That is exactly it. It is the constant ticking in my brain. It's like I have 20 browser tabs open, and he has one, and his is playing a video game. And the worst part is, when I get mad, he says, "Why are you yelling? If you wanted help, just ask." I hate that phrase. Just ask. Right? Because asking is work. If I have to ask him to do everything, I am still doing the management. I am still carrying the weight. I don't want a helper. I want a partner.
It is tricky because, on the surface, he probably thinks he's a good guy. He does what you ask, right?
He does. If I give him a list, he will do it. But why do I have to make the list? Why am I the only one who notices the bathroom is dirty? Why am I the default parent for the dog? It makes me feel like his mother, and nothing kills romance faster than feeling like your boyfriend's mother.
That shift from lover to mother is dangerous. But let me ask you something honest. What would happen if you didn't text the cat sitter?
Then we wouldn't have a sitter.
And then what?
We couldn't go on the trip, or we would be scrambling at the last minute, stressed out of our minds.
So you stepped in to prevent the consequence.
Well, yes, someone has to be the adult.
I hear you, and your frustration is totally valid, but I think we need to look at the pattern here. You are over-functioning. You're doing 120% of the work because you're terrified that if you do 50%, the whole thing collapses.
It feels like it will collapse.
It might stumble, sure, but as long as you act as the safety net for every mistake he makes, he has zero incentive to step up. He knows you will fix it. So I am enabling him. In a way, yes. It's a dynamic you're both building together. You crave control because it reduces your anxiety, and he craves passivity because it's easy. And the result is you sitting here, furious, drinking lukewarm coffee.
Okay, that hits hard. But I can't just stop doing things. We would live in filth.
We're not talking about living in filth. We are talking about changing the contract of how you operate. But before we get to the fix, we have to understand why he retreats when you push.
You said he retreats when I push. That sounds like I am the villain here. I am just trying to get things done. If I don't push, he is just stagnant.
I know it feels that way, but think about it from the outside. When you ask him to do something, how do you usually ask? Be honest.
I don't know. Usually I am already annoyed because I've been thinking about it for 3 days and he hasn't noticed. So I probably say something like, "Why haven't you called the vet yet? You know how important this is." Or, "Why do I always have to remind you?"
Right. So you start with a criticism. You are attacking his character or his memory, not just stating a need. In relationship psychology, that is called a harsh startup.
But it is true. He did forget.
It might be true, but look at the result. When you come at him with that energy, the energy of a disappointed mother or a frustrated boss, what is his immediate reaction?
He gets defensive. He says, "I was just about to do it," or "I have been busy with work."
Then he shuts down and goes to his phone.
Exactly. It is a cycle. You get anxious that things won't get done, so you overfunction. You take control and criticize. He feels inadequate and micromanaged, so he underfunctions to avoid doing it wrong or getting yelled at. He retreats to protect his autonomy. So the more I do, the less he does? Precisely. It's like a seesaw. If you're sitting on the ground holding all the weight, he's dangling in the air with his feet off the ground. He literally cannot get traction to help you because you're doing it all. You are unintentionally teaching him learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. That sounds pathetic. It is a survival mechanism. If he feels like he can never please you, that even if he loads the dishwasher, you will rearrange it because he did it wrong, he stops trying. He figures it's safer to wait for orders than to take initiative and fail.
Oh, wow. I definitely rearranged the dishwasher. I didn't realize that was sending a message. The message is, I don't trust you to be a competent adult. And that kills intimacy. You want a partner who shares the load, but you're gripping the steering wheel so tight your knuckles are white. You have to realize that your anxiety is driving this just as much as his passivity is. That is a hard pill to swallow. I thought I was just being organized, but you're saying I'm actually blocking him from stepping up. I'm saying you are taking up all the space. If there's a vacuum, he might fill it. But right now, there is no vacuum. There's just you rushing around, fixing everything. Okay, I see the dynamic. I hate it, but I see it. I am the overfunctioner, he is the underfunctioner, and we're stuck in this loop of nagging and withdrawing. So how do I stop? If I just stop doing things, the house burns down.
The house won't burn down, but the system has to change. You don't need to just stop doing things, you need to change how you hand them over. You need to move from delegating tasks to delegating ownership.
What's the difference?
A huge difference. Delegating a task is, please buy cat food. Delegating ownership is, you are in charge of the cat's survival. And that includes knowing when she's hungry, buying the food, and feeding her.
That sounds terrifying. What if the cat starves?
That is the fear talking. He's a capable human being. He holds down a job, right? He keeps himself alive? Yes. Then he can handle the cat. But you have to let him do it his way, and you have to let him fail a little bit without rescuing him. Are you ready to hear how to actually have that conversation without screaming?
Please, before I go home and rearrange the dishwasher again.
Okay, so the conversation has 2 steps. First, you have to change how you bring it up. No more ambushes when you are angry. You need to sit down at a calm time, maybe with a glass of wine, and use a soft startup.
A soft startup. That sounds like I am coddling him.
It is not coddling, it is strategic communication. Instead of saying, you are lazy and you never help, you focus on your own experience. You say, I feel incredibly overwhelmed and lonely when I have to manage all the household logistics. It makes me feel like I am carrying the relationship by myself.
I feel lonely. That is actually really accurate. It is lonely being the only one who worries.
Exactly, and that is a vulnerability he can connect with. He can't argue with your feelings. If you call him lazy, he fights back. If you say you are lonely and drowning, he will want to help.
Okay, so I tell him how I feel, and then?
Then you hand over ownership using the CPE method. It stands for conception, planning, and execution.
Conception, planning, execution. Sounds like corporate speak again.
It works, though. Right now, you are doing the conception, noticing the dog needs shots, and the planning, finding the number and time. You are only asking him to do the execution, which is driving the dog there. That is not help. That is him being a taxi driver.
So I need him to do all 3?
Yes, you sit down and say, I need to take the dog off my mental plate entirely. From now on, you are the dog manager. You notice when he needs the vet, you book it, you take him, and you pay for it.
I do not want to know about it unless there is an emergency.
I don't know if I can do that. What if he forgets and the dog gets sick?
Then he has to deal with the guilt and the consequences of a sick dog. That is how he learns. But here's the catch, and this is the hardest part for you. You have to shut your mouth. Excuse me? You cannot hover. You cannot remind him, and most importantly, you cannot criticize how he does it. If he takes the dog to a different vet than you would have chosen, you say nothing. If he books a morning appointment instead of an afternoon one, you say nothing.
So I have to give up my standards?
You have to give up your perfectionism to gain your sanity. You have to decide what is more important to you, having things done exactly your way or having a partner who actually shares the load. You cannot have both.
That is the real trade-off, isn't it? Control versus connection.
It is, and right now, your control is suffocating the connection. Give him the space to step up. He might stumble at first, he might be messy, but if you hold the line and refuse to rescue him, he will eventually rise to the occasion. And suddenly, you will have all that brain space back to just be his girlfriend again, not his manager.
To be his girlfriend again. That sounds really nice. I miss just having fun with him.
You can get that back, but you have to drop the clipboard and trust him to handle his half of the life you built together.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Tonight. No yelling, just, I feel lonely and I need you to take the dog.
Perfect. And leave the dishwasher alone.
I make no promises about the dishwasher, but I will try.
That is all we can do. Cheers to that.